Hi, everybody. Welcome to another week of Women Empowering Women. I am Galit Ventura Rosen, your host. One of my favorite things to do is interview women entrepreneurs from all over the world. And today we are going to be interviewing Courtney Bentley from my own backyard in Las Vegas. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me on, Galit. I am so excited to be here because we are going to talk about something I am just obsessed with right now.
Yes, that's why we're going to be talking about it, because you're
Yes.
obsessed about it and you need to talk about it. It's so much fun for me because a lot of the women that apply to be interviewed on Women Empowering Women are from all over the world. And every once in a while, I get to meet a woman that's in Las Vegas. So Courtney and I have actually had the opportunity to meet in person. Finally, last week, I was on her podcast just a bit ago, and she'll tell you about her amazing top-ranked podcast today as well. But it's fun because we get to see each other later today at a philanthropy event as well.
That's why I am just so thrilled that you are here and that we got to connect finally in person. It's so funny online where you know so many people, you know about so many people, but you've never actually met in person. So like I already knew all about you. And then I met you in person.
It's
so
fun.
It's so much fun.
There's so many amazing women entrepreneurs in Las Vegas as well. So even though I've lived here for 30 years, I'm still meeting people that I've never met before because we still have so many people that are moving to Vegas. I know you've only been here a few years.
2.
Yes. So still moving, and even people that didn't just move, it's still such a big community, even though it feels small. So it's fun. All right, I'm going to read a little bit about Courtney.
Okay.
There's so much more, but we don't want to spend the entire 30 minutes reading her bio.
Why not?
So,
no, just kidding.
Not, right? We'll talk instead. Courtney Bentley is the host of a top-ranked podcast, Fit, Fierce, and Fabulous, creator of Moon Tapping, and a coach to health and wellness professionals. She empowers ambitious women to not only achieve their goals, but energize their lives in the process. Her extensive knowledge and training in behavioral science, fitness, and nutrition, with over 11 plus years of running her own business, has allowed her to transition struggling coaches into fit, fierce, and fabulous entrepreneurs.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about you and about your journey and how you got here.
So in terms of podcasting, I was personal training. I had a fitness business and I was speaking. So this was in Thailand and I loved my business there, but I moved to America to a whole new world. And I wasn't the only girl who spoke English that was from America that was very well certified, NASM, all these big certifications. I've been in this industry a long time. So I have all the certifications, as I say. And when I came back to America, none of that mattered anymore. So I had to find a way to stand out. And that's something I love about you, Galit, is that you're very good at making sure you stand out with your business and you show people that it's important not to just post random things on Facebook, to really have meaning and take the time to really, find your niche and really just serve them and give them lots of value. So I wanted to find a way to give more value. And I was going to do video and I was in between video and podcasts, but I love that the women who have been following me I've had my blog 10 years, they love podcasts. So why would I do video if they love podcasts?
No, that's so smart.
Yeah.
The podcast it's been a big thing, but it's still a really big thing. And it's keep getting bigger.
Yes. And I started my podcast, Fit, Fierce, and Fabulous. I was a little in this zone of, I don't know what I'm going to do. What's the next step for me in my career? I was just in that weird funk, and I was feeling really depressed.
I call it the funk before we up level.
Yes. That's honestly, looking back at the time, that's not how it felt.
Of course, it never feels that way.
Why not?
Because that would be too easy.
So I look back now. Yes, I look back now and I'm like, thank God that happened. But I saw that my story, I'm a recovered self-hater. I discovered self-love. I had an eating disorder. I found fitness, but I also found my story and my voice, which helps impact people in such a way. And it's been such a gift. So podcasting was this natural next step. And I just grew to love it. I'm a year into it. My podcast has hit the charts. I've been next to Lewis Howes, Gretchen Rubin, all these amazing people. And it's just been the biggest blessing ever. Like, I love
And more
podcasts.
than anything, what I love most about the women that I get to interview is we all come from a place of you just want to make an impact. You just want to make a difference. And if one woman that's watching, or excuse me, for you, it's listening. For me, it's watching for right now. For one woman that's listening, you make an impact on or a difference because of your story. That's it. It's worth it.
Yep. It's so worth it.
Right?
That's what makes it feel here.
Yes. Oh, and I'm so heart-centered. Sometimes I kind of wish I was a little less heart-centered because, the heart actually really hurts sometimes when you're doing things or when you're going through change. It's so funny. Before we jump into this amazing topic, and you're going to get secret tips today that Courtney's clients pay her for.
Yes.
And how to be a podcast queen, which means how to get on the podcasts. So if you're not interested in starting one, if you are, you want to talk to Courtney because she can help you out.
Yeah.
But if you want to be on a podcast, you want to learn these tips we're going to go over. But before we do that, I wanted to just say something that you mentioned that I think is so important, is that you found your story. And more than anything, sometimes when we're in the process of finding our story, we ourselves have to go through struggles. And what's so interesting and what I've learned in this journey, and my journey in my passion business, my second passion business, because I believe my first passion business was also my passion, is that I learned the only way sometimes to find your story is to go through struggles, to go through, to walk through, I call it walk through or jump over obstacles, because they're part of the path, not in the way. And what's neat for me is with you, you recognize the things you've gone through now, even though then it's like, really? But what I've experienced more than anything in this journey, Courtney, and if anybody's listening, if you think the place that you're at today is going to always be your place, you are wrong.
Yes.
When you're in it, it feels like the worst thing you're ever going to go through. And trust me, I continue to go through that because I'm constantly up leveling and shifting. And a lot of us are. I'm sure you are too, Courtney. So you go through a struggle and double think and triple think every decision you've ever made.
It's crazy.
And then you recognize it, you accept it, you work through it. Please work through it, because if you don't work through it, it'll keep showing up. And then you go, wait, now it makes sense.
And that was podcasting for me. I'm like, what am I going to do? What makes sense? And literally, this just made sense. I love talking. I love sharing my story. I love connecting with other women doing really cool stuff. And I love having this platform, which I'm going to give you some insider secrets today, to share with other people. So when I go into a podcast interview, I never just, it's all about Courtney.
Yes.
It's about co-collaboration to bring value to someone.
Yes. What did I say to you before we got started? Courtney was so cute. She goes, okay, Galit, what is it that what did you say? What is it that
you're working on? Kind of like what?
Yeah, what is it you're working on? What topic do you want me to talk about? I'm like, this isn't about me. So Courtney's concerned about this being about me. And I'm like, no, this is all about you. I do this because I want women to have the platform so others can learn about what they do and what they rock out. And so it was so fun because Courtney was trying to make it about me and I was trying to make it about her. Now imagine a world where we lived in and everybody tried to make it about the other person. How amazing that would be.
Yeah.
And this thing is, somehow indirectly, it always comes back and benefits us anyways. So it's not that I'm not thinking about myself or Courtney's not thinking about herself. It's just we have this natural ability to be concerned about the other person.
Heart-centered entrepreneur.
Yes. So let's get started. I want to share this
let's
topic
do it.
with everybody. Get started. We're going to jump right into tell them the topic we're going to be talking about.
Okay, so because I know not everyone wants to start a podcast, I think it's important to understand being a guest on a podcast. All right, so the thing that a lot of people don't think about, they don't think about how awesome podcasts are. When you're talking, if you close your eyes right now and you listen to my voice, you can like me or not. You know me, my quirky laugh, the way I say things, the way I get really excited. And as I'm going to talk here and give you guys lots of value, you're going to learn to trust me, right, with this topic. So that's what podcasting really does for you as a guest, is it gives you a platform like Galit has invited and offered me here today to speak so that people can decide, like, know, and trust me as an expert in my field. So that's why I love podcasting so much, because you can sit in the comfort of your own home with your pajamas on, rock out interviews, and get in front of like millions of people that listen to podcasts that are tuning in to us, to someone who has a podcast, right? So they are targeted. And I'm going to go through how to find which podcast to be on in a minute, but I just want to give you guys a little reason why this is so important.
Yes.
Have a little targeted niche family or a tribe that tunes in every week to this person. You are hopping into their audience and co-creating an episode with them to bring value to their audience. Now, these people that are tuning in are a whole new can of worms of people that you wouldn't have been able to reach through a Facebook ad or a blog post or
in your local
SEO.
community.
Yes. And you have a community with a host that people already like, know, and trust. And that person bringing you on their show shows them that the person they already like, know, and trust is saying, hey, this person is awesome.
Which already gives you immediate credibility.
Exactly. Exactly. So that's why I'm so passionate about getting people who have a business, who have a passion, to step foot onto a podcast. Again, you don't have to pay for Facebook ads. You don't have to try to figure out email funnels. You don't have to do any of that. You simply share value to their audience. And these people can contact you and connect with you if they feel like, wow, I really like what this person is doing.
Yes.
So it's a win-win for both parties, the podcast host who needs guests and yourself as a business owner who wants to share their story and connect with more people.
And both people are coming from a place of wanting to give value to their listeners.
Yes.
So the person, for example, even though this isn't a podcast, but the reason I do this is I want those that are watching me and learning from me to get value from different areas of expertise. Your area of expertise to me is important. I'm referring my business clients and my speaking clients to Courtney to be guests and also to purchase some of your programs because I think they should have podcasts. So it works both ways. And then I get value because Courtney is bringing me in front of an entire new group of people that may not know that I'm a business mentor and a professional speaking mentor. So it's fun. And the neatest part is it is fun.
Yes, exactly.
Courtney and I look like we're already having fun and we just started.
Yeah. And that's the whole thing with podcasts too, is the host wants to bring a fun, thing. It doesn't have to be serious. You don't have to sit and, try to figure out and navigate the world of all that other stuff. You simply show up as yourself and you bring value.
Yes.
And you connect with all these amazing people. So I do want to talk a little bit about strategy because I think strategy is important, especially when you're navigating iTunes. And I don't even know how many podcasts. I should probably look this up, but there's thousands upon thousands.
I have no idea either. We'll have to look that up.
Yes. So before you begin your journey down this podcast rabbit hole, you got to find your why. So I always tell people there's two things that you should aim for, one or the other. Okay, for now, you can always change later. This isn't permanent. You should either be aiming to get clients and ideal people into your programs. So ideal clients, people that you want to work with in a one-on-one situation or a group program or something like a course you're coming out with. Or you should focus on becoming the thought leader expert in your industry because you have a book coming out, you have a program that teaches, so like you might be a speaker like yourself, and you want to teach other people to be speakers that are also, business coaches, right? So thought leader, or you're trying to get clients, which they're kind of both. But with the thought leader aspect, it might be like you have a book coming out, right? And you're just trying to get the word out about your book in front of the thought leaders and other people that would be interested in your subject matter. So having those two and figuring out which one you want to do is really, really going to help you. So one thing that you want to do is if you're looking for new clients in this sector, you want to play with this a little bit. So as a fitness professional, when at a time when I was a personal trainer and I was trying to get female entrepreneurs into my fitness programs online, me going on another health and wellness podcast isn't the best option for me. And the reason that is because I'm going in front of people who already are interested in health and wellness. They're probably personal trainers or boot camp instructors or health coaches. So they're not going to be my ideal client that's pulling into my programs. At the time, where I was at was I was in trying to hit the like early 30s, late 20 market. And so I went on a comedy podcast called Almost 30 that had nothing to do about, I mean, they talk a little bit about health and wellness, but not really. They talk about being almost 30. They talk about books and other podcasts and just fun topics, TV shows, things like that. So me going in as the expert of the health and wellness world and being this personal trainer and having this program, I'm hitting this target market with a new value add to them, something they may or may not have been interested in the past. And I've become the, they have had a few now because they've had their podcast for 2 years. But at the time, I was one of the only ones that popped on as the go-to expert for health and wellness. So I got a lot of new clients there because I'm not competing over here with other trainers. I'm competing in an area where my ideal clients are just listening and not even really thinking about health and wellness. So it's very important to understand your ideal client. Are they listening to comedy podcasts? Like if you're, a life coach, going on another life coach podcast, you're just talking to other life coaches. But going on a comedy podcast or I don't know, a political podcast. I don't know. You got to figure out where your ideal client is and what they're listening to and try to pop on those podcasts and be guests on those podcasts. So you really stand out.
Yes.
So that's over there.
Very important to know who your ideal client is in anything that you choose to do. Absolutely. And you want to be on a podcast that is associated with that.
Yeah, exactly. And then now
if you're out of the box, comedy's totally out of the box. So
totally.
I love it. I love the out of the box.
Yes, be out of the box because then you're going to be in front of an audience and you're going to bring value points, which we'll talk about. With the value point, how can you make fitness fun? Like for instance, when I was a personal trainer going on there, I talked about how people are so funny in the gym and how it's so important to have someone help you so that you don't look funny in the gym. And they told stories about times they went to the gym and looked funny. It was like this whole fun conversation, but I tied it into my expertise, right? Mm-hmm. So that's a really fun way to reach your ideal clients and get them into your programs while having tons of fun.
Yes.
Now, if you have a book coming out, or like yourself, you have the speaker program coming out and you want to target, probably female business coaches to help them bring their thought leadership up, you would want to go on female business-based podcasts.
Absolutely.
Because now you're offering a segment on how they can market their business, right? And yes. You are an expert in your field. So you're bringing in those people saying, hey, I'm an expert. And one thing I did to really build my business was speaking. And that's a great way for you to do it. And I want to mentor you and help you. And I get your thought process because I'm also a female business coach.
Yes, yes.
So that's the type of podcast that you're going to want to be on if you're trying to build your thought leadership. So understanding the difference will really help you navigate iTunes and not feel overwhelmed and confused because you either know where your ideal client is hanging out that's different from the industry you're in, or you're like, I got to be where my people are at. And I got to be telling them what's up with this cool thing that I'm doing right now.
Right.
So that's how you want to strategize what podcast that you're going on.
So now we know what podcasts we should be on. What should we do next?
Okay. So the next thing you want to do is you want to be a seasoned pro in everything that you do. Good. So you're going to have to pitch. And as you know, with speaking, pitching can be a little scary for people. And the thing I want you to understand is when you pitch a host, remember that you are being a value add to their show, that you're not taking from them. So if you approach your pitch in that way, you will feel so much more confident when you click send. The person reading it will feel the energy of what you put into the pitch, not just, hi, I'm Courtney and I'm a certified personal trainer and I want to go on your show and talk about workouts. Delete. So you want to, so a tip that I always tell people is go through, figure out which one you want to go. Start looking at the top podcasts in those categories, and then look at the different types of episodes they've had, look at their audience, and find out about the host. Do you have something in common with them that you didn't realize? Hello, Vegas, right? there's so many things that you might find if you research the host that you can kind of snip in there, like, hey, we both went to this college or whatever. And then you want to show them the value you're going to bring for the audience. So instead of just being like, I'm a certified personal trainer and I can talk about anything about fitness, tell me what you want me to talk about, pitch 3 different topic ideas that would be of value to that host. And when they see that, it makes it so much easier for them to say yes, because they don't have to think. They know what you like to talk about. And it's better for you because you're going to be talking about the program you're promoting or the book you're promoting or whatever. And you're going to tie that in nicely and not just sit and pitch the whole time, but add lots of value that makes sense to your end game, which is to get people in your programs and things like that.
Yes. And when you give them, I love doing 3 topics. When you give them 3 topics, a lot of times I'm very blessed. People reach out to me and ask me to be on their podcast, and they already know what topic they want me to talk about.
And that will happen. Yes.
It's interesting to me, but that's because I spend so much time with my branding and they know. So I will ask them if they reach out to me, I'll say, what would you like me to speak about? Because they typically know. But when I reach out to a lot of podcasts have applications. And it's just like professional speaking. I apply to a lot of places to speak. And when you're filling out the application, if they give you the option to write a few topics, do. Because it's so important. And it's important for them to go, oh, wait, this fits. And that depends on you doing your homework. So Courtney was very clear. Please do your homework. If you're pitching let's say a fitness topic to someone, let's say we'll do something funny. You're going to pitch why people should eat meat to a vegan podcast. No.
Yeah.
Do your homework. Please do your homework.
Yes. And you can simply just go through and click most popular episodes. You don't have to sit and listen to all 100 episodes that the podcast has. And just kind of get a feel how the hosts, what types of guests they bring on, what types of topics they talk about. And you'll learn a lot about their audience listening to 1 or 2 podcasts, which you can listen to in the car while you're doing laundry. I mean, you don't have to sit and listen. Just get a feel of what's going on. So I want to teach you guys how to consistently be on podcasts and the strategy behind that too, because I think that's really important. And one thing I like to do is I like to build a podcast target list. So what I'll do is maybe like once every 60 days, I'll figure out what my end goal is. Am I trying to build my thought leadership, or am I trying to get clients for a program or something I'm going to be launching in the future? Because obviously, if you're launching your program tomorrow, it's a little too late to be on the podcast, because a lot of podcast hosts, they already have a couple episodes before. So thinking about the bigger picture, when you have something maybe stewing up, and then make a template, which I would love to share. It's just the name of the podcast host, contact email, type of audience they have, and possible topics that you want to pitch to it. And just keep a spreadsheet and just knock them out every few days. Just send a couple pitches and just do. Make sure you follow up. Sometimes emails get lost. I always say follow up in at least 2 business days. A lot of times I'll read an email and then a client will call me and then I'll forget and I'll get 10 more emails and then your email gets lost. So just make sure, don't be afraid to follow up. And I've also loved when someone contacts me on a social media platform. If they just reach out to me on Twitter or Facebook and say, hey, I'd love to be on your podcast. I shot you an email. My email is blah, blah, blah @gmail.com. Let me know if you have any questions. I'd love to talk further. And I love when someone does that, because that's like, hey, I really want to be on your show and I really think I'd be a valuable asset. Because certain seasons, my inbox is flooded with pitches. And that just shows me like, wow, this person really went above and beyond.
What I love to do, Courtney, is I love to connect with them on all the social medias. So I'll like their business pages. I'll connect with them on LinkedIn. I'll connect with them through whatever social medias you use. And I like to do that because I love to learn a little bit more about them, and I want them to have the opportunity to learn a little bit more about me. Then once that relationship starts being built, that's typically when I'll send the private message, because people notice who is following them. People notice who's connecting with them. They see that name pop up and it becomes familiar. So that's just another piece of what Courtney's talking about, aside from the spreadsheet. I love spreadsheets.
Yeah.
I'm like spreadsheet queen. It's a little bit scary how many Google Docs I have, but It's very important to keep track of the dates, the times when you reach out, and recognize that we may not remember every single person we reach out to. The other thing that I do, an extra step, is I also add the topic that I pitch them.
Yeah.
Because I forget. I will pitch a topic 3 months ago and they'll get to me now and I'll forget what topic I pitched. And that's kind of embarrassing.
Yeah.
So instead of doing that, I now actually paste the topic and what I send them in the spreadsheet as well, so they know, because different podcasts are getting pitched different topics.
Yes. Yes, big time. And another thing you can do, and this is like a really hot tip that I always teach people, is if you have a thought leader or someone that's above you, maybe they're a best-selling, like I always say, I look at Lewis Howes, because Lewis Howes he has a top-rated podcast. He's in my field. I will simply just go in iTunes and type his name in and see what podcasts he's been interviewed on. And it depends, am I building my thought leadership or am I trying to get clients? But it's an easy way for you to kind of funnel a lot of them out and say, hey, these are the types of topics that these podcasts, because again, there's thousands of them, are having, this thought leader that's aligned with my vision and we're kind of in the same area. He's been on all these podcasts. These might be a great place to start pitching. And then as you pitch, ask the guest. I've had some of my greatest interviews from people where I just say, hey, if you know any other podcasters that would love my topic, I would love to learn more about their podcast. Please share the podcast with me so I can learn more about it. And then you can say, hey, I've been on so-and-so's podcast that we talked about this. It was a lot of fun. I saw you don't talk a lot about this. I'm an expert in this, and I think your audience would find a lot of value in this topic. Let me know what you think. So now you're 1 degree of separation. So you can do that as well. And that's really helpful for building that list that you're pitching and also getting on those podcasts that really align with what you're doing.
Yes, and also be aware of if something similar to what you were thinking of pitching had already been done recently, they're more than likely not going to have it on right away. So switch it, because most of us have a lot of talents and a lot of expertise. So just try to find a place where maybe they haven't spoken about your topic in a while or at all. That would be exciting, because that'll be fresh and new for them.
Yes. And trust me, I love, I had a declutter expert and I talk about health and wellness on my podcast. And I was such a fun topic. And so many people got a lot out of it, because having a cluttered space isn't healthy.
Absolutely.
So she was able to send me these value adds. And I was like, wow, I never even thought of having a guest like that on, but it was a fabulous interview. My audience loved it and we had a blast. So don't be afraid if they haven't done it before, to think about how you can angle it and make it happen, because you'd really be surprised.
Yes, you never know what they're thinking, and you might give the podcaster an idea that they didn't think of before. So that is a perfect example of a topic that you wouldn't typically think to pitch, because you think you have to stay in this box.
No.
So who would have thought to pitch Courtney, a decluttering expert? I mean, hello, her podcast is Fit, Fierce, and Fabulous. I mean, really. So that to me is perfect. I interviewed a woman last week about periods.
See?
Natural medicine doctor, and she works with women to connect when they're irregular and we have issues with things in their life they have to change.
See?
And I was going, oh my God, this is awesome. Let's go. And I usually she's still a businesswoman. She owns her own business. She's an entrepreneur. She works with infertility as well. And who would have thought? She sent it to me. I loved it. I said, let's do it.
See? It's perfect. It's a value add for your audience, because as we both know, we know many women that go through these issues. It's a thing.
Oh, I learned so much in that podcast.
Yeah.
The video, so much in it, so much in the interview.
So that's why, these are 2 examples of 2 people who have, we have our area of expertise. We bring in experts, but how you can kind of move a little bit, bring a lot of value, and really have an amazing experience with the host in the interview. So that's a great example.
I love it, Courtney. Is there anything else you want to share on tips? I think we covered them all.
Yeah, we covered everything. Just be really excited when you go into your interview. A little tip, I have a little dance party before I go. So I'm hyped up, I'm excited. And that really, people hear that.
Yeah, for me, it's so interesting. I do for Courtney and I right now, it's 9 a.m. So I jump on around 8:30 to do my interviews. And it's kind of early, but I'm an early bird. And it's interesting to me because I just turn on the video camera and my energy just goes through the roof. I think a lot of times I just get so excited because I'm so present and I learn. So make sure you're present, make sure you're engaged. Whatever is happening in your life, everybody's got something. I'm not giving you a hard time about that. That day that you have that interview, do whatever you need to be present and engaged, because that podcaster is really excited to have you on. And trust me, they put their stuff aside to be able to give you 100%. Their listeners are there giving you 100%. So make sure whatever it is, you work through it and you just get on. After you get off, you can do whatever you need to do.
Exactly. But hang it
with
at
your
the front
smile.
door.
Oh, yes. And Courtney, huge thing I just have to say, because in part, please make sure you're smiling. Even though they're not seeing you, they can tell if you are enjoying your topic. They can tell if you're passionate about it. They can hear it in the voice and the tone. If you closed your eyes right now and listened to the interview between Courtney and I with your eyes closed, you probably could tell when we got excited, when we used our hands, when we smiled.
Yep.
Just from the tone of our voice. So
yep.
huge, huge, huge. Please. I'm one of those people that I probably smile a little too much, but I smile when I do my talks and I smile when I do my interviews, because I feel like it gives me an opportunity to connect with them through my voice.
Yes. And you can feel it. I know. I can feel it. Literally, I can feel when someone's really excited to be a guest on my show. And I notice that I talk to my audience, a lot of them will message me and they will say, wow, that was such a great interview. And I notice the more enthusiastic the guest is, the more reaction you're going to get. So
especially
really
because they're not watching them.
Yeah.
Especially because that sense is turned off. So because they're not seeing them, they're visualizing them. So visualizing them, they're visualizing the giggle, they're visualizing the interest, the passion. So please make sure if you're a guest on someone's podcast that you give them your full, because it's so fair and important. They're giving you a platform and you want to be able to kind of repay them with your energy, which really shines through. So Courtney, tell everybody a little bit about how they can get a hold of you and what you offer your clients if anybody's interested in working with you.
Sure. So my website is my name, CourtneyVioletBentley.com. Right now, I have a program that launches next week called Purposeful Podcast Guest. And it's a little bit about what we talked about, but way more in depth with video trainings and a community to connect with. And I think we're going to do a challenge too. We're going to do a 50 pitch challenge, I think. So that'll be really, really fun. I'm so excited. So if you're interested in that, please contact me. You can contact me on Facebook, Courtney Violet Bentley, or my email address, Courtney@starsystems.com. Feel free to shoot me an email if you're interested in that, and I'll get you on the list.
Yes, and if you're also interested, I know today we talked about being a guest, but if you're interested in starting your own podcast, Courtney has been, her podcast just hit a year. Has it hit a year yet?
Yes, it just hit a year. Fit, Fierce, and Fabulous. If you like health and wellness related podcasts, please check me out on iTunes. I do have a VIP Purposeful Podcasting program. So I work one-on-one with you to make the podcast happen. I go through all the steps with you and I give you a successful launch plan, because, I always tell people it's one thing to have a podcast, but it's one thing to have a podcast that's really impacting people with your message. And the only way you're going to do that is with a great strategy. So I love helping people really take their message and grow that podcast so they are making that impact they truly wish to make. And that's why I call it purposeful podcasting, because you want to have purpose behind it.
I love that. I love that. So if anybody needs any information from Courtney, please get a hold of her. Thank you so much for joining me this week. It was so much fun, and I'll see you in a few hours.
Yeah, I was like, I'll see you.
We have a fun little philanthropy luncheon today. We're going to have a lot of fun. And thank you for joining me for another week of Women Empowering Women. My name is Galit Ventura Rosen. As most of you know, if you're ever interested in being a professional speaker or taking your business to the next level, reach out to me, and I will see you next week.
Thank you, Galit, so much.
Thanks, Courtney. Bye.
Bye.